is Michael with Michael Mays Leather Works, and welcome back to my leather shop. As you can probably guess by the video title, we're going to be talking about stitch groovers today and how I'm going to help you take your stitch grooving to the next level. Now, before we get into the video, I would like to thank today's sponsor, which is Sense Leather Company out of Beijing. I was looking around on Etsy and ran across their shop, and this particular tool here caught my eye. After reading on it through the description and looking at some pictures, I reached out to them and asked if they would be interested in sponsoring a video. They were nice enough to agree and then send me this product for the purposes of the video. Now, please keep in mind, I'm not paid for my reviews, so what you hear today is 100% my honest feelings about the product and how it performs. Now, if you're interested in checking them out, you'll see their information on the screen, and you'll also find that information down in the video description below. Now, with that being said, let's get into the review. Now, in my opinion, all stitch groovers that I've used before this one suffered the same flaw, and it's a design flaw in how the guide arm is designed. Now, some of these will have the cutting head on an arm like what you see here. Others, it'll have a hollow shaft in the middle that a head will slide into. But regardless of the of design that you have, the flaw is that the guide arm, which in this case is the center shaft, it's almost it's almost flush with the cutting head, and that makes no sense to me. You would think if you want something to run along the edge of your leather as a guide, you would want it to protrude, a good bit past the cutting head, so that it could actually make good purchase on the side of the leather. And unfortunately, you just don't get that effect with these tools. Now, every time I've used a stitch groover in the past, I've either used this one, or I've used this one here, but unfortunately, they both suffer from that same issue. And I'm sure if you've done a lot of projects and you've used stitch groovers yourself, you've had this tool jump off the edge on you and ruin a project. And I can't stand that. I hate wasting money. I hate wasting my time, especially to ruin a project, right towards the end when I'm putting in the grooves and, about to sew it up and have that project finished. Now, with that being said, what makes this tool stand out and excel where these here fail? Well, in my opinion, it's the overall design, okay? First of all, I don't need any tools to make any adjustments on this piece. Everything is done with these 3 thumb screws that you see here. The 2 on top are for tightening down your guide arm, and the one on the side, you turn it away from you to loosen it, and then this is where the cutting heads will go. Okay, and then you turn it towards you to tighten it. You're ready to rock and roll. Now, as far as the cutting heads are concerned, now what they've sent me here is all 6 cutting heads that they offer. You have your standard grooving heads here, and then you have these other 3 which operate more like a V-gouge. Now, unlike a V-gouge, this is still kind of curved at the bottom, but it produces a flatter bottom on the gouge, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment when I show you how these work. Now, just another point of advice: when you're going to gouge a project, or even just use it as a groover, slightly wetten your leather beforehand. Now, it doesn't need to be soaking wet. We're not trying to mold it or tool it or anything like that. But you do want just a little bit of moisture in that top layer where we're going to be making these. It helps your groover perform better, and you'll get a cleaner groove at the end. Just a little pro tip there for you. So to load in the head, I'm going to loosen this thumb screw. I'm just going to grab the size 0. And now with that number being up, I'll slide that in to the shaft, make sure it's seated all the way. Turn the thumb screw, and now we're ready to use the tool. Where this one excels is, and you can see that now that I've got the tool head in. When I turn it this way, look at how far this guide arm, look how far it sticks out past the actual cutting head here. So when I place this on the side of the leather, as you see, I have a lot more of that guide arm. I mean, check that out. That's almost going to the bottom, and this is a piece of 7-ounce leather, and this is going right down, giving me plenty of purchase. So whether I use it straight up and down, or if I use it, more at an angle, look at how much of the tool is actually making contact with the leather. That makes all the difference in how well this tool performs. So, it's very comfortable tool to hold. Feels well made in the hand, so I do like that. So let's see how well we can put just the smallest stitch groove into this leather. So I'll bump that up to the side, lay my tool head on it, do a nice even pull with even pressure. Okay. And as you can see, that performed very well. If you take a closer look, you can see we have a nice consistent depth, nice consistent width here from the side to the start of the channel. We'll kick this out a little bit more, and we'll do a wider cut. And this is, especially when you're not doing a line right up close to the edge, I anyway have more of a tendency to put more pressure on the edge of the leather to make sure that I'm riding, nice and even, nice and flush to that edge. And as you can see, even with that kicked out, that's just under a 1/2 inch off the edge. That's still very straight. We have very nice consistent depth, all the way through the groove. That looks really nice in my opinion. Now, another cool feature that I like, and you can do this with others as well, but they've made it very easy. I can just loosen those thumb screws. I can take that off, and now I have a freehand groover. So I can tighten these back down. I don't like to take them off, because knowing me, I'd lose them. But you just tighten that down, and now I can grab my ruler. I can come right into the middle of a project, take this now and then use my ruler as my guide, and now I can literally groove anywhere I want. Then again, I'm getting the same nice consistent result. Nice straight line, good even consistency as far as the depth, all the way through the cut. So it's these are very sharp, and they work very well. So I'm very happy with how these have performed for me over the past 4 to 6 weeks that I've had them. But this is the standard 0 size. And change out this head, and I'm going to jump up to the largest. So we'll go from the smallest to the largest. Again, you can see the numbers facing up. Slide that in there, tighten it up. And I'm going to loosen these thumb screws. I'm going to put the guide back on. All right, so now we've got that in place. I'm just going to turn this around. Again, put my finger in that little divot. Put the guide arm on the edge of the leather. Now you'll notice on this side, this piece here has some bumps, some curves in it. It's not cut. This wasn't cut with a ruler. It was just cut off in a hurry with some scissors. But you can actually see how well that follows this contour here. And again, that's all thanks to that design, to where, we get that much hangover on the side, which is excellent. You can see here, I was doing some practicing beforehand. If you're using a lightweight thread, you can use this smaller, the size 0. And I found that works pretty good for, 0.6 to 0.8. And then you could put in the head with number 1, and that's going to work good for 0.8 to about 1 mil. And then you can jump up to this larger here, the size 2, and that's going to work for about a 1 to a 1.2 millimeter weight thread. So, if I hit this with, my diamond chisels, stitched it, and then tap it down with a hammer, that's going to be super clean, very professional looking. And the stitching is what a lot of people look at. So if you've got nice, clean, consistent stitching, a nice, consistent, groove line that's sitting down in, that's really going to help protect that thread from wear and tear and snags over the life of your product, and that's nothing but good things in my opinion. So that pretty much covers what we need to know about the standard groove heads here. Where this tool here is going to excel is, let's say if you're using, let's say you like to lace your projects, right? Well, in lacing, I think that looks best if you have a nice flat bottom on your channel. And, with your standard, stitch groover or with a V groover, you're not going to get that. But in this case, I'm going to put the guide arm on. It's set to roughly 3 mil, 1/8 of an inch. But you can see I'm going to lay that on there, and then a little bit, don't put too much pressure, and make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. And let's just rod that down the edge here. All right. Now let's look at the difference here. Now this is the size 0, and I put that right next to the other size 0 that we've got here. And you can see there's quite a bit of difference in the shape and how the bottom of the contour of these two grooves look. This one, which was done with their gouge head, is much flatter and wider than what you get with your standard grooving head of the same size. So you can imagine if our edge, was like this and we're doing lacing, I think the lacing is going to look much better in this flat bottomed line here than what we got on this groove here. Like I said, it really is just personal preference. And again, you can do this the same way, to where you can take this off. And, and if I wanted to, I can take this, and now I can freehand, different things. So again, if you're doing some decoration on your project, you're going to dye this and drop some antique in. That antique is really going to show up in these. So that could be nice as a border, around where you're going to do some stamping, or just, some decorative cuts that, you want this look and feel to. So with all that being said, what's the final view on this? It's a very well-made tool. There's no denying that. If you get this in your hand and you feel it, it definitely feels like it's quality made, quality material. I'm pretty sure all this is brass. I believe in their description they state what this is made out of. And in the box, you actually get a card that tells you how to sharpen it, how to maintain the edge on these tools, which is very nice. But if you have the extra money to spend and you're tired of your standard groovers, jumping off the edges and ruining your projects, I would definitely consider this tool over another of this design. Guys, check them out. The links will be down in the description. If you get one, you won't be disappointed. They're very sharp, feel very good in the hand. The packaging and the material and everything, it's very professional, it's very clean. But guys, that's about all I have to say about this product. Again, if you want to check it out, check out the description for the links. If you've liked the video, if it was informative or entertaining to you in any way, I would definitely appreciate a big thumbs up, and for you to subscribe if you haven't already. And you guys be on the lookout for more videos to come. Thanks you all.